Welcome to the Dirttime channel. I'm Alan Halcon. When we hear someone that's in a survival situation, we often imagine someone lost or stranded in the wilderness having to fight for their life by starting a fire, by rubbing sticks together, building some sort of debris shelter, or setting out traps to catch their food. And while that can be true, today I want to talk about traps, specifically the Spring Snare. Many of us are familiar with spring snares. We've seen them in movies, books, and even here on YouTube. A spring snare is nothing more than whereby some sort of sapling is bent over and held in that position under tension with some sort of cordage that is connected to some sort of trigger mechanism. And when that trigger mechanism is tripped, it causes the sapling to straighten out and hopefully catches your prey. The problem with instructional books and videos is that when they're teaching you how to make this trap, they're teaching you under ideal conditions. And unfortunately, in a survival situation, ideal conditions rarely exist. And what do I mean by ideal conditions? Well, in order for a spring snare to work, you really have to have a solid anchor. But unfortunately, many times the ground is either too hard or too soft. If the ground is too hard, it becomes impossible to bury your anchor. And if the ground is too soft, well, when you bury your anchor, the tension of the sapling wants to pull up the anchor, and it's really difficult to secure and set that anchor. But what if I told you there is a spring snare out there that will completely eliminate the need to bury any anchors into the ground? In fact, this snare is so effective and so efficient, you're going to look at it and think to yourself, I'm never going to have to use another spring snare like I see in books or videos again. Let's take a look. Here it is, the Figure 4 spring snare. This snare right here will mitigate ever having to worry about the ground being too hard or too soft. This line right here is connected to my bent over sapling and is under a lot of tension. This line right here is connected to the base of the tree, the trunk. It can also be a bucket of rocks, it can be a boulder, whatever have you. This toggle right here is connecting these two lines together. And then here is my toggle release. This toggle release is connected to my snare at the end. So when the critter comes along, pulls down on the toggle, it releases the whole setup, wanting to shoot this completely straight out, straightening out the limb and hopefully catching your prey. Let's do that again. You'll notice that this is nothing more than just a Y section in a branch from another branch wanting to grow out. And then I just carved this just like you would with a Figure 4 trap. So we'll set that again. We'll stick that on the line, and then we'll secure that right here. And there it is. It's set and ready to go all over again. This is connected to my main line. It's just a taut line hitch that I've connected on there. But the way this works again is we have the snare. It's connected to here. The critter sticks his head in, pulls a little bit of the weight out. Well, let me set this a little more sensitive. Pulls a little bit of the weight, releases the line. One more time. Set that here. Set that there. It's very sensitive. I'll stick my hand here. Wants to release the line and cause the limb to shoot out, hopefully entangling your prey. One more time, just so you can see how that works. I'm going to stick that on the line, stick the pin, the toggle right there. When a critter comes along, releases it. All right, now let's do it full speed without that in the way. Without my hand in the way, I should say. Here it is. There you have it. I hope that the information I've shared with you today you find really useful. But ultimately, it's up to you to get out there and practice these traps before you ever really need them in a real survival situation. Experiment with the length of the trigger stick that releases the toggle. Making it longer will give you an increased mechanical advantage, which will make the trigger system more sensitive. Well, until next time, I'm Alan Halcon with Dirttime.com.
I hear the trees talking to each other, the hills rise up from the ground. The red fox stops to drink, but does not make a sound. My spirit needs to move, my soul it wants to climb. Wanna head out to the wilderness, out in the time.